This is episode 361, close to 365.
Wow.
And hello, everyone. I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here with my co-host.
DANK.
And we're here on the front lines in the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Illuminonkeys, and all those that wish to enslave all of humanity for their own selfish reasons. How's it going, Tank?
Oh, I think it's a pretty good day. Judicial Watch and a judge ordered Hillary Clinton to actually sit under oath and testify to about her lost emails that are used from a private server. So I think that's a pretty good start to the day.
Yep, I heard that too. Fantastic news. But also the judge is giving her 75 days to appear.
Jesus H. Christ.
Like, why 75 days? Why 2.5
75 days?
2.5 months.
Great.
Yeah.
This is way, way behind. This is already 3.5 years. Come on.
Yeah. So now when I heard that, I said, "Is this planned in some way? Is this like what is the benefit of this delay coming from, say, the white hat side of things, the patriot side? Let's say that they're trying to coordinate and push some agenda. What advantage is there to making Hillary come out in 75 days? Because she's not going to come out next week, right? She's just going to delay it as much as possible. She's going to come there, on 74 days, 23 hours and 59 minutes. And then she's going to, she'll be there in the last minute. So, but what is that? It's 2.5 months from now. We're 9 months out from the election. Yeah, so that's bringing it down to 6.5 months before the election. does what does that do for us if Hillary is coming out at that point? What does that have to do with the Democrats choosing who they want to be their running mate? Everyone else dropped out of the race on the Democrat side. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Everyone else dropped out.
Yeah, not just all the second tiers. Pete Buttigieg, we talked about yesterday, but Amy Klobuchar, she's also dropped out. So that's Pete and Amy and Steyer. Steyer's always the one everyone forgets about, right? The other billionaire, the forgettable billionaire.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
So these three dropped out. That would, so let's say all of those votes, let's say all of them went to Biden.
Right.
So if all of those go to Biden, where does that leave Bernie? Bernie's going to walk away with California. That means he's won California, and will the people in California vote for Biden? Yeah, I don't think so. I think we're going to see Bernie win it, unless they're at least they're pulling some levers underneath, behind the curtain somewhere, and put him ahead of Bernie.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they're already, working their scam, right?
Right.
So it's not like it's not out of the question. I'm interested to see how they, when it gets actual time to, do the elections. You're looking at, the last time they were counting on the George Soros voting machines, rigging devices, right? They were there. The server was actually at Hillary Clinton's house, and that was taken offline during the election. And that's why you had a more fair election. But still, we have obvious evidence of lots of things going on still, right?
So,
lots of dead people that voted. And,
I didn't know that that the server was in Hillary's own, closet.
Well, yeah, that's the big, excitement. Like when she was smashing her, server and burning it and all that stuff. That was the rigging machine, the votes that would have made her the automatic, winner. Which is, pretty standard. They've done that for many years, right? With those systems, right. Those Soros voting machines have been around, I think, since the '90s. So you have that. So it'll be a nice change of events to actually see criminals get tried, right? And instead of people like Roger Stone going to jail for nothing, while someone else in the Democratic Party committing the exact same crime and no one even, and if you bring it up, you're a racist.
Racist!
Yeah, like even if it's a white guy, it's like you're a racist for bringing that up. How dare you? How dare you? You're being targeted by Trump, right?
Yeah.
So, which I actually think about it. It's like, well, it seems like the people that Trump targets are criminals, more than anything else, more than opponents,
Yeah, that's
even
what,
with all the.
Yeah, that's one of his things. Like he always goes after the real criminals. Like when he was going to deport, when he was doing this raid to deport everyone, he got all the Democrats to go up in opposition to him, doing raids. And it turns out he only took out MS-13 members.
Right.
So he just turned the table on them again.
Yeah, and they're against that too, because the MS-13 members are there's trained MS-13 members working in banks, and they're trained by Blackwater as mercenaries, right?
Right.
So clean up their act and put them there. So all that's very, it is what it is. All this talk, it's really amazing. No one, like what we talked about last night, about what actually crashed the markets, right? So it's 4,000 point drop in the market. Even the SEC report was, they were talking about it's not going to recover in 1 month or 1 quarter or 2 quarters. The rest of the year is going to be down. And, okay, maybe that's true. But at the same time, it's like, well, I don't know. If it dropped that quickly with, fraud, and no one's even talking about what really made it drop, right? They're still all talking about it like it's coronavirus. But it wasn't the coronavirus, right? It was the Rothschilds working out of Westland, New Zealand to siphon money off, right? As they do all the time. They just siphon the value off of things, and they do it everywhere at a certain rate, so that it just seems natural, you know. And they're obviously desperate if they're doing that, right? Because or they really don't believe that, you know, Kim is monitoring everything. So I did ask him, you know, if by any chance the events of the weekend, you know, if you recall, I said that there was a military call for the Rothschilds, I guess, that 2:16 a.m. Sunday morning, 2:16 a.m. Sunday morning, basically saying to shut down the financial system, right, in the West, because they were panicked because Kim, you know, she showed them all, here are the crimes, here's what they did, it's taking up all this money, and it went out to, you know, went to them in Western New Zealand, and that database, you know, processor is now destroyed, right? No longer work. So I asked her if that, you know, if that inspired them to credit the accounts that she transferred money to.
Inspiration,
and
yes.
And her response was like, "Ha, really? Like, you really think you're going to cooperate?" And I was like, you know, I'm always hopeful. I'm always hopeful, and I am always hopeful that you know, there'll be a shift. You know, and then yeah, she's basically saying, like, for them, like, it's time for them to lead, follow, or get out of the way. And she basically say get out of the way is the likely option, right? Like, you'd like to think that would be the option, but I mean, these people have demonstrated a you know, pretty clear affinity for, you know, an idiocracy that they're trying to form. So it's amazing how stubborn they are. So I was like, I responded to her, I'm like, you know, clear funds, project funding starts, regular people are empowered, world changes. Simple. And Kim replied, if only it was that simple. Right? So let me read you my response. So I said, well, when the problem is complicated, the solution never is. And all I could think about was these, you know, these massive equations get laid out on a board right in a someplace like Harvard, right? Like you see in a movie, huge boards, equations, all these things going on. You go through all this stuff. Sometimes it takes months to solve these equations. You get to the very end, and the answer is like 5. Right? It's just the answer is simple, right? So I sent Kim this really incredible little girl. I sent this video. This little girl, she was maybe 9 years old. She was playing the violin outside. She was playing the song Hallelujah. And it was really, I mean, you know, I highly recommend it. I'll post it after this. I don't know this thing, but this is what I said to her. I said, so all this amazing beauty, only 6 notes. The song only has 6 notes. Serendipitous flow. It's just my vibe that we're in the moment of change, so the answer must be here and now. Flowers don't struggle to grow, trees just stand, and nobody has to teach a baby how to cry. It's just natural alignment. If someone can't see, then speak clearly. If they can't hear, make them feel you. And if they can't feel, then they're probably already dead inside, and they may require a shock to restart their heart. It's hard for people to hear the truth and allow it to have an impact on their conduct, behavior, and attitude when they're scared, injured, and hungry. Feed the people. Heal the people. Then tell them the truth. And they'll spend their lives working to restore the planet in every way just to show their gratitude. Nothing you don't know, I'm sure. I just never stop thinking about our potential. I'm always trying to walk worthy of the person I want to be. I just think we'll never have peace inside or out if it doesn't happen naturally. So that's what I left off with Kim.
Hallelujah.
Because, hallelujah. Oh, man, you got to hear this little girl's song. I'm telling you, it's beautiful. She did such a nice job. But, you know, there is something, you know, I really believe that to be true. When the problem is complicated, the solution never is.
I've got a solution. It's a very simple solution.
Yep, go ahead.
No, I can't say it over the air.
Oh.
Anyway, I told you actually just before we came on, so you might want to pass that on and see if we can, you know, make some solution happen that way.
Yeah,
I think it's
I
very
will.
simple. Yeah.
No, that is very simple. That is very simple. You know, it's amazing. One of the key components in life of being human, right? That people often overlook, right? Is, I mean, intangible component is trust, right? I mean, think about it. You can't have life without trust, right? Like, you know, a baby is born. You know, it just has to be a natural instinct. You know, the philoprogenitive nature, the natural love for our offspring. When that baby comes out, you know, it's a soul, right? That has a, you know, like an eternal soul, so to speak, right? That has, you know, previous life, so to speak, in previous existence, energetically, before it came into that body. And then you take that energy, and it's a willing submission, right, for that soul to enter into that body, right? They know what they're getting into. And the very first thing that is required is trust. Because when you are born into that body, you are completely helpless. Mm-hmm. You are reliant on people to pick you up and to feed you and to change your clothes and to make sure you're warm, make sure you're safe, make sure nobody drops you.
For years.
Right? For years, right? I mean, you couldn't fight off a rat if you wanted to, right? I mean, like, you're itty bitty little baby. You're completely helpless. So human life begins. The very first thing is trust and love, right? There has to be a genuine love for the child, and the soul and spirit that is that child has to be willing to enter into that body and trust the individual that they're putting their life in their hands, right? Those two components, now, it's amazing as we get older, so much of our society is based on, you know, teaching our kids to be afraid, right? You know, like, you need to be careful about this, don't do that. You give them structure and balance and logic and consequences. And you teach them all these things, right? Which is practical to some extent, right? And probably overdone in many cases. Because so much of our life is based on ignorance that we don't have a full understanding of, you know, what's real and what's not. And because of that, you know, we probably have perpetuated all types of fear on our children, creating limits that aren't really there. So then you look at the way children are, just the way they are together naturally, you know, siblings.
Yeah.
You could have a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old. And that 2-year-old will take the time to teach the 1-year-old all that it knows.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of the most endearing qualities about human existence that in my opinion, you're dead inside if you don't appreciate that, right? When a 2-year-old is showing a 1-year-old, you know, how to put blocks together, right, or how to do anything.
Right.
It's just one of my favorite things in the whole world is watching my children together, right? So watching them interact and teach each other and care for each other when they're sick and, you know, things like that. You know, no one has to teach them that.
Right.
You know, I've never had to tell them to do that. They just have always done that.
Yeah.
I remember I took my sons down when they were like 3 years old, and my sister, she had a son who was also 3 years old, and at the time he was a biter. Like, he was randomly biting people for some reason. So I had told my sons, I'm like, you protect each other, right? And I was joking around. I'm like, you know, anybody mess with these, punch right in the nose, right? So my little nephew, he went to bite my son Noah. My son Jordan rose up, flew at him, jumped up on top and was pounding him, right? Punched him in the nose. And he goes, don't touch my brother, right? And he said, don't bite my brother, right? You know, he's 3 years old. I explained to my sister, I'm like, well, I mean, get your kid under control. You need to stop biting.
Yeah.
I'm like, but you know, I didn't have to tell them to do that. They just do it naturally, right?
Right.
And I just think about these incredible, intangible, beautiful qualities about human beings that over time we sometimes just take for granted or neglect, you know, and we don't give energy to them the way we should, you know. Meanwhile, these are things that are unlimited, right? It's funny because I get in trouble. Sometimes people think, you know, on my team I have a wonderful, incredible team of people around me, right? And I'm always very trusting, you know, by nature. And you know, that does two things, right? That attracts people that want to take advantage of that. They want to come in and they want to get close, right? right. But the reason why I do it, and I think it's worth the risk, right, is because what I find is you find a lot of people who have been undervalued, who have never really blossomed, who have exceptional talents and abilities, and they've been kind of lost in the shuffle, right? And they've kind of stopped believing in themselves, right? And so when you meet these people and you just naturally give them your trust, right? It's amazing, right? Especially when someone hasn't been, no one's ever put that confidence in them, how they blossom, how they, suddenly realize that there's nothing they can't do, right?
You
And I've watched that happen
rise
all
to
over.
the occasion.
Yeah. And then they have bumps and bruises along the way, right? Because they're inexperienced, but those things are easily. You just work with people, right?
Right.
Be kind. Take the time to actually help them, and it's amazing. Those people are the most loyal. They're the most hardworking. They contribute so much more, and it's all because when nobody else saw them, you did, right? So it's funny because I look at my whole everything we're doing. I look at what's happening out there, and I was thinking about this, and I think it's really important, right? Is that if I were to sum up the situation right now of what's happening, it's that people can't hear you, right? They can't hear the truth, and and I'm always trying to think, how do you get people to listen, right? How do you get them to actually hear something and realize it's true when they're so consumed by trying to survive, trying to fit in, trying to, abide by a unlawful system. And, it's just a constant challenge, in everything right now. In this whole, sculpted reality that we exist in is like you have all these countries, all these banks. When you hear the incredible things that Kim has done, you have to ask yourself, how can anyone continue to press back against her? Why is it that they are all over themselves, fumbling to try to make her happy, doing all they can to support her goal? You got to take all these world leaders, not just the regular world leaders either, but the behind the scenes deep state, the dark, shadowy Illuminati, Order of the Black Sun, the big money people. They all came together, right? The ones who know everything, who have access to all this technology, who've been around forever. They all came together, and they're like, everything we're doing is failing. They were told by the people they worship as gods that the reset plan has been canceled. You have to come up with a new plan. And when they were all called together to have a new plan, not one of them had a plan. None of them. The only plan on the table is the restoration plan from Kim. And you know what? Every race and species of beings on the planet embraced it, except for the Rothschild, deep state, Illuminati, whatever, dragon families, right? Everybody else. So the only ones that are mostly human, I guess, right, who I guess represent us on some level. Somehow these people represent us, which I still find infuriating. So thank God that Kim represents us, right?
Yeah.
Thank God she stood up for us. And even in that, I get frustrated from the standpoint of, I would do anything to support what Kim's doing, and it's not because it's Kim. It's because the principles that Kim stands for and what she has demonstrated over and over again, and it frustrates me sometimes that I can't do more and I can't find a way to break this open. So, and as I sit here and I was talking, we have many aspects of the work that we do, and my whole team never stops, and they never complain. They never stop working tirelessly. And I have people all around the world who are doing work with the anticipation of we're bringing these projects that everybody knows. We have to change these core elements, right? We have to change the way law is practiced. We have to change the mainstream media. We have to develop, we have to establish the de jure government so it can run alongside the de facto government. We have to establish mainstream media that actually has quality and truth in it, right? To establish how fraudulent the other side is. We have to make sure that healthcare actually cares about our health, and that organizations like the EPA and the FDA and the CDC are not licensed foreign agents on our soil that are here to poison us, they're no longer allowed to do that. And somebody actually presses charges against these idiots who get them away from us. These are things that we should be able to do. They're logical. There's nobody that if that was the business model and they were just honest about what they're doing would allow it to go on. But somehow we're here, right? We're fighting against things which are so anti-life, anti-human, anti-prosperity, anti-abundance, anti-joy, anti-love. All of these things, the things that every single person can agree, we want those things, right? I mean, we talk about food, water, air, and each other, but what about who doesn't want love? I mean, who doesn't want love? Everybody wants love.
Well, obviously they don't want it. They actually think it's a weakness, right? So this is the point, right? We have that cabal that says caring and love is a weakness, right? You know, and for whatever reason they think that, you know, this is their, you know, their religious belief. So, you know, but yeah. But if we're human, yeah, the aspect of like any of the children, like you were just saying, your daughter and your sons, and how they act with one another, they're acting with love, right? You know, and the same with my children, right? You know, they love each other. You know, I didn't say, okay, you're gonna love each other no matter what. I didn't like punish them and hey, you're not loving each other. You know,
right, exactly.
Right, it wasn't forced. It wasn't like, it's just something that's natural. It's like what. It's just part of being human is to love.
That's right. And it is. I mean, love, trust. You know, happiness. I mean, you know, just joy, just an innate joy of a child. You know, I mean, like, look. I look at my 7-year-old, and she's sick today, right? She was really sick, and so she was so sick that she's so happy but today she was so sick, she was so like grumpy and snappy, right? Like, it was just cute for that moment because I'm like, wow, because her natural state is so joyful.
Right.
Like, I mean, she'll say things to me, you know, like a couple weeks ago, she goes, that must be why my life's so good. I'm like, I'm so glad you think so, because in her mind, she doesn't worry or concern herself with what she doesn't have. She just spends all her time appreciating what she does have. You know, I think I told the story before, but I love this story. I remember my daughter was about 10 months old, and in my religion at the time, you know, it was very strict, and everybody was very big on, you know, fighting against your vanity, and, you know, that we're all born a certain way, and we're negative spirits, and, you know, and you gotta really train your kids with kind of their attitude, right? So my daughter's standing there looking in the mirror. I had this big, like 10-foot tall mirror. It was a great room. And she's sitting there buck naked, looking at herself in the mirror, and she's just laughing.
That's exactly what happens to me.
Well, she was smiling at herself and laughing, but there were some people over there, and they were like, "You got to be careful, got to guard against that vanity," they said. And I said to myself, I'm like, shut the hell up. I'm like, so I looked at my little girl, and I said to myself, now, when was the last time I was able to look in the mirror, buck naked, look at myself with all that I am, right in that moment with nothing else, physically, spiritually, emotionally, energetically, and just be able to smile and laugh, appreciate and enjoy myself. I strive to be more like my daughter every day. I think about that all the time. Yeah.
I hear you. You're it's a good example. But yeah, you know, I do that all the time. You know, look at myself naked, you know, and laugh. So, you know, it's a good exercise. You know, and vanity. But
look in the mirror and be like, is this really happening?
You know, is there something wrong with the mirror?
What is a funhouse?
It's a funhouse mirror. That's it. So, but you know, I was just thinking, you know, when we're kind of covering this, like, well, love and that, so, you know, I think that, you know, when what doesn't have love, you know, when we think about this, you know, as a living being, isn't there some sort of love for your children, your offspring of some sort in every living thing? I mean, maybe not. I mean, maybe there's some, you know, insects or that they don't care for their children. I have no idea what their feelings are, right, for their children. But then I started thinking, well, what else doesn't have feelings? Well, robots, mechanical, artificial. So I'm just wondering, if this AI, negative AI, that's kind of ruling the world is why we have this thing happening with the cabal members, where they're basically trained not to love and care, because the ultimate end goal is to get everyone outfitted for a new cyber body, right? So that you can look in the mirror and then you don't need to laugh because there's no emotion. In fact, there's no reason to look in the mirror.
All right. What does it matter what you look like? It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters.
So, just a thought. uh,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, look, at the end of the day, even if they win, I mean, like, did they really win anything? Like a life of like slavery and torture and
well, they're the masters
not,
of the slaves, right? So that's what they win. Your prize. Here's these cyborgs that we've outfitted. You get to tell them anything you want, and they'll do it. Now that's
right.
power, right? Or is it?
And it's interesting. It's actually so much. It's the opposite when you think about it this way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is because what that means is the ultimate authority on everything you experience is you, and all that you can know is all that you already know, right? So everything is the way you want it, right? But think about it, your tastes change, your desires change over time as you experience new things. But if you control everything, there's really no new things to experience, right? Because everything is controlled. So you run out of things pretty quick, and you can have,
Well,
wine and caviar all you want.
Yeah, on the Machine World and the Matrix, right? In the Machine City, they got there,
Yeah.
and it was funny that the machine was expressing anger, right? And it was just kind of interesting. And I was thinking, one of the things the architect said was, we're prepared to scorch the earth and destroy everyone, and we're ready to basically go down to low power levels to the extreme. Like there would not be anything in operation because there's just no power, and they're willing to do that, right? Give up the batteries just for this. Interesting. This feeling, right? To go over this anger, revenge, or whatever this is that this computer program has. So why are they willing to go down to almost non-existence? Because they have no feelings, right? So what does it matter?
Right. Everything is just efficiency. It's like they look at things as this is what is practical, right? Now, so practicality is not being practical. It's fine, right? For practical reasons, that's fine. But when practicality becomes the ultimate goal, right? The most, if you get the most practical, most efficient, right? No time wasted, no original thought though,
Right.
No creativity, no access to source energy.
Yeah, they're only operating off of a pre-existing programming that came from a creative being.
Right.
It wasn't naturally evolved into a different way of thinking. It was set in motion by, not emotion, but set into motion by an emotional being, right? And then they want to make it practical, right? And they want to put it into a formula. And these things are not formula. You can't make a feeling. You can't quantify it, by a formula. And that's the beauty of this creation, of this reality, right? Is that everything is made out of an equation, except for the feelings, right? They're not. You might be able to predict, outcomes of it, but you can't create the emotions, which is part of the life.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can't like you're seeing that movie American Psycho, right? Like the guy is a psychopath, right? He's a serial killer, but he's tall, good looking, he's a big time like financial management guy, right? And everything is just boiled down to just the fake hypocrisy of this world, right? He even describes himself as saying, he's that I look like a human. But I have no connection to the human emotional experience, right? And he walks through life, and no one would ever suspect him. Like literally, he's doing things like stuffing bodies in his trunk right in front of people, and no one even suspects him, even though he's committing crimes right in front of people, because he doesn't look like what people have been trained are criminals, right? Mm-hmm. But he's completely detached, and he knows it, right? He's very, very aware of his emotional limitations and doesn't care, because he has no emotional experience whatsoever.
Right.
And I'm just like, can you imagine a world where that was that's all there is? You can't. The creativity, like all creativity, is inspired by, by our love of something, our appreciation for the details, the subtle imperfections of people and our environment, right? Like the things that people take the time to notice. That's why they tell you to stop and smell the roses, right? Because these things, they inspire memories, they inspire new experiences. If we could just take the time to appreciate what's happening all around us all the time, that alone, and if I could get that message out, I'm always thinking about how do I find it frustrating, like when you see all the potential the world has and all that there is here, right? But some days I feel like I'm just one of these crazy homeless men, walking around with a shopping cart and a big sign that says, God loves you. Like nobody cares. So I'm always looking for ways to try to inspire that.
Yeah, God loves you. And that's it's nice of the homeless person to realize that God loves him.
I mean, yeah, exactly. It's like I've never embraced that we have to struggle that way, right? Now, I think it's good to have gone through something at some point, but there's a very kind of a dominant belief in many factions of Christianity, right? I mean, there's like 32,000 different sects of Christianity. And in that, it's one of the things that's a common theme is to just, that your reward is in heaven, right? But the Bible says the heaven is on earth. So, but what most people think is, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die to get there, right? But the idea is that, well, once I die, my reward will be in heaven. And so they're willing to give up their whole life pretending to be something they're not, right? Never really being happy, but just pounding their own emotional desires, their own, goals, ambitions, hopes and dreams. They just demolish them, fit into a system to just go in and be a slave, thinking that this is a righteous activity, right? I'm doing this because I'm righteous, right? And it makes sense to people for the most part. We all think, well, look, this is the sacrifice I make because I'm doing the Lord's work, or because I live a righteous life. But what if that's not true? And it's not true, right?
It seemed a little presumptuous.
Yeah, but that is what happens all the time. I mean, I grew up Christian, I grew up Baptist. I talk to people every day, and people just go that way. They look at sacrifice, right? Sacrifice is a term introduced only in religion, right? It's only in religion that you talk about sacrifice.
Well, I was listening to Thomas this last show, and I think he mentioned sacrifice means to die by fire. So you have to literally go up and smoke. We get burnt alive, and that's a sacrifice. That's where it comes from. So anyone's
Yeah.
willing to sacrifice, just stand back before you get too burnt.
Nah, yeah, I never liked that word. Because I don't think we have to sacrifice like that, right? We don't have to give up our dreams. As a matter of fact, I actually think it's very much the opposite, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
any,
it's when you get into that way of thinking, right? Then you're kind of limiting yourself because you give yourself a reason to fail. You give yourself, I didn't sacrifice enough, so I can't have what I'm looking for. Right? So
right,
it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. At that point, you
right,
manifest that reality. So it's okay. It's okay to go through things like what we're going through.
right, right.
Right. There's no timer on it, like the 1 year timer coming up in a couple more days for our 1 year, the start of the non-ending broadcast. Well, it'll be on the 5th.
Might have to take on sponsors. After
Yeah.
a year, we might have to say, okay, we need a sponsor now.
Yeah. Well, I did add gold grain coins to the membership levels in www. I lost. I'm always messing up now on the name of the website because it's kind of I get stuck with www like for a website. And it goes, but it's wwg1wga.love. Oh, this one behind me. Right. And I added it for like a $200 membership level and free 100 gold grain coins. So the $300 level, then there's 30 free gold grain coins.
That's a good deal.
Yeah. So
Good deal.
that way, it's it starts the flow coming that direction. And then I guess there's I mentioned this earlier, and I'm not in email all the time, but there's an interesting chain of emails that connected a bunch of us out there in alternative media, and I was and one of the websites that was mentioning that Kim actually mentioned in this was she was just saying like yours, THI, and has a website as well for people, but she's saying whitehatmovement.com. So Kim was in that email, I was in the email, and Dustin Nemos was in the email. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I'm replying to Dustin Nemos. I always watch his stuff. Well, at least a couple times a month I end up watching Dustin Nemos on his stuff, and to see that we're all now connected, and that this email chain that it's kind of like the what's in the body of the email I consider completely useless. I can't read it. it's all caps.
For anybody who's not familiar with what Dan's talking about, if you remember a few months ago or several months ago, I read the insane babbling of an email attacking me, attacking attacking Dan.
Yeah.
That's the same guy. The same group.
Really?
Yeah, same group who sends those out, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry. Well, Dustin pointed out and said, "Hey, this is a fantastic list of people in the alternative media, right?" And
right.
So he responded, and then Kim responded, so I'm responding, and something good comes out of it. Dustin said, "Make lemons into lemonade." So just interesting, that you can, like take lemons and make them in lemonade. I like lemons as lemons as well, but
I do too. Yeah, I'm fine with lemons for that.
Yeah, just the way they are. I mean, I like to get a big prune face, pucker, like.
Yeah.
Take a big bite out of a lemon sometime. You get your vitamin C hit.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
That's pretty exciting.
yeah. But anyway, I want to now Dustin Emos brought up, the products are now being offered off of the sites of the support one another. There's like an Amazon competitor, like an idea to create a shipping company for people to start participating and create another economy. So it's the same thing I have designed out of Kringle Gold, right? The idea of this ecosystem, and so we're developing the different websites for it. So I'm going to offer that up into say, listen, I want to put gold grain coins on whitehatmovement.com. Right, or any of the others that come up, right, and then have them available, right, and just start building, building the alternative, ecosystem, and that's so. Anyway, just making lemons into lemonade.
Always, always. Yeah, I think that's a good attitude.
Yeah,
take the path.
I would never have read this email. Just the title of it, the way it was worded and phrased, and everything. I never would have looked at it. It just, for some reason, I opened it, and just looking at the email itself, I said, why am I looking at this? I don't like seeing this stuff. Purple words, all capitalized, all spread out. I could never read that. I mean, I would start reading and my eyes would get dizzy trying to read it. Big graphics and things ongoing. It's non-comprehensible. Collage of stuff. But I saw.
Anytime someone puts multiple exclamation points, I'm out. I'm like, okay.
Well, this was three at symbols, of a couple of parentheses, something. I'm going. It's
what
way out
does
there.
3 at symbols mean? At.
Parentheses 3. So it's not comprehensible, but but Dustin replied and Kim replied. I'm looking at the replies, and that's I think what caught me. I said, Kim. Kim replied. That's why I read what Kim said. I said, "Oh, Dustin Emos." He replied. So I said, "Okay, I'm going to reply." So I was ready to reply to this. So just you never know what when you're going to find a diamond in the rough, right? You don't never know when you're going to find that one thing. Say, "Oh no, I'd never go down that way." Never. And then here you are. So, oh yeah, that was the way I was supposed to go, right? So you got to sometimes be open.
All the time.
You got to sometimes be open to these things and see where it takes you.
That is when people talk about synchronicity, I was in meditation the other day and I heard a voice very clearly say serendipitous flow, right? And I was like, oh, that's just another way to describe synchronicity, right? When things just happen completely unplanned, in perfect timing that work to your benefit, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Serendipitous, right?
Well, I say synchronicity, but yes, it means the same thing. Synchronicity.
I knew that's right. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, I just heard that.
Serendipity is correct. It's also correct. I mean, I've always used the synchronicity as opposed to coincidence as one of my main drum beats. There is no such thing as coincidence. There's it's everything's synchronicity, and that. And I think one of the things I learned out of yoga, that I did, straight yoga for like 7 years daily. Right. I don't do any yoga now, but the hatha yoga that I was started with, it was all about moving in breath, right? Moving in breath. So you synchronize your movements with your breath, right? And when you do that, I find that the synchronicities also tend to line up better. In fact, they can come rapidly, one right after the other. And especially when you're being creative and you're going down a particular line, these things just come together. If you move in breath,
Yep.
But it's a practice. Right? You make it a habit of how you do things. Uh, so it was an interesting journey that I was on with yoga and art and manifesting practice. So, but now it's incorporated. I don't do that. I mean, on occasion I go and I end up doing a bunch of stretching. Stretch up my back and things like that. Then I sit in front of a mirror and laugh. I sit in front of a mirror naked and laugh. I left out the naked.
Yes. No, yeah, I agree. I did Bikram yoga for a long time, and I still try to.
I've done that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Bikram. I mean, it doesn't have quite the same natural flow into positions that some other yogas do, but I like them. But I believe I have like an ideal of like what I think is the ideal workout regimen, like to do like CrossFit 3 times a week, do yoga 3 times a week, or rest one day, something like that. But right now, that's part of this. I think that's part of this the in between zone, right? It's like we're in purgatory.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, it's a good thing these things end every 7 years, and my 7 years is almost up. Yay!
Yeah. Gosh, I guess I just turned. I mean, I just ended one 7 years, right? So I guess I'm 6 years away. But I don't know. I feel like everything's happening right now. That's good. It's just never seems to be quite fast. As fast as we'd like it to be, I guess. But I just there's something here. What I feel very strongly is that the answer is here. It's all done. It's all here. And I really don't know what's holding things up at this point. And I guess someone say, "Oh, nothing's holding it up," but
it is that there's a group of people out there that are still caught in their own manifestation of what they know as reality, where they're in control and they get to say what things happen. And they want to go with their old plan, right? I don't like the old plan. I end up being, one of the emperors of the world. Yeah. I don't like the new plan.
You can be the king of the junkyard, still a junkyard, but you're the king. If you destroy everything, what are you the emperor of? Nothing.
Yeah. Well, the end result was that they're all dead anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. You were the last one standing. Great job, and now you're dead too. Yeah. Good job, genius. Yeah. It's a job. Well, I don't know, man. I feel like I want to have a giant think tank of everyone. I want to bring thousands of people together in one place. And
that email list is a good start. You should reply as well. You're on the list.
Maybe I just refuse to acknowledge the insane battlings of the guy. But maybe I'll pull the email list.
Well, it's lemons and a lemonade. Get over yourself.
You're right. It's pride. Make no mistake. I'm flawed as a human being when it comes to things like that. I don't compromise with this thing. It's a big challenge. This whole process. I've been so dead set. Like I will not compromise.
Now we know why things are not moving forward.
Yeah, it's my fault. Exactly. Now I think about this with this path of like really doing all I can. I've been so convinced. I'm like, look, as soon as you try to pushing one way or another with all the stuff we're doing, if we add price tags to it in any way, right? It's a hang up I have, right? It's like I really don't want to do it. Right? I don't want to take money from people that have nothing. And it's such a hard situation sometimes. It's like, it's like we have business expenses every month that, every dime I bring in, I use to pay those things off. And then we have, then you have natural expenses, right? It's like, those things come up. It's just it's a constant grind, And that to me is very frustrating. So I think it puts me in a state where I'm not really in a state of abundance because I'm constantly looking out, looking for what is coming our way because we've done the work, right? We have the contracts, money's in the account. We know money is in the account right now in these accounts. So it's I don't know. I got to work on that block, everybody. So please work on that spiritual block for me, or get us a sponsor that's wants to.
Or just reply to the email.
Yeah, okay. That's what the secret is.
That's it. Yeah, just reply.
I'll give it to Sidori and see if Sidori replies. Because Sidori is just as stubborn as I am.
So it'll be Kim, Dustin Demos, and me all replying, and then Tank no reply.
Yeah.
You said
I don't know.
Hey, listen, it's this lemons and the lemonade. Just think about it.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's and you're the reason why I'm replying.
I know.
And it's because of what you said to me yesterday, right? So. About me telling the my story about how I got unbanked, right? And I had to go into cryptocurrency, and then move me down this way. I didn't. Yeah, I just. Okay, I'll just defeat you this way. I'll use these tools over here.
Yeah, we talked at the National Assembly, and they're great, right? So he was breaking down this process of actually sending in a FOIA for the oath of office of the judges and different government officials, right? He said, and then you have to write this sentence on top of it that basically says, like, I, fill your name in, right? Accept your contract. So the oath of office is a contract, right? Or it's a request of contract. Like, you're basically saying, like, it's an offer to contract. So now you're accepting their offer of contract, right? And you're basically binding them. Then you get it notarized, right? You publish it, all that stuff, right? Which is a pretty common practice, right? But then from that point forward, you have an actual contract with that judge or that governor or these people that binds them and says, your contract to me says that you will abide by the Constitution, right? So I was thinking about it. I was so fascinated talking to him about this, right? Because it's so simple. It's such a simple, powerful weapon that everybody can do right now. Anybody out there who's got a situation with their kids and they're worried that the CPS can come after your kids, you know what? Hit me up on the email. I'll give you the exact process. It's so powerful because they're all bound by the same thing. Every government employee, right, is bound by the same thing. I think I'm going to do it for every police officer in Nassau County, in the whole state where I live.
Okay.
So I started filling out the FOIA request, right? And I started like you sent them in this email, and I'm going to basically request the oath of office for every single official, every police officer in the state, and then I'm going to make sure to go get every one of them notarized, so every one of them has a contract. So if I get pulled over, I get harassed, I'm in court, it doesn't matter where I am. And if you think about it, you can really establish your own, law enforcement that way. You can now say, look, I have a contract with you, and you have to enforce the Constitution, and you're not. Right?
Interesting.
So always thinking of creative ways to change things.
But you now expand that out so that anyone that's in the network should have access to those.
Oh, that's right. So here's what we do, right? So what we're going to do is, because the Guardian of Camelot is an association. Now, an association, by definition, right, is a group of people, right? They're all members of the same body, agreeing to operate and exist according to the same ethics or goals or, whatever. So we can actually do it for the Guardian of Camelot Association, which means all of the associated members benefit from the same oath of office. So if we do that for the Guardian of Camelot in every state, in every place, in all these different groups, we have an actual contract that says we have one. Now, all we have to do from there is every member we'll give them an official identification, right, of their with their name on it. And if there's ever an issue, it's like, oh, don't worry, we have your oath box right here. We'll send it down to you, so you can use it in a court of law. And you walk into the court of law and you tell that judge, you have this contract with that judge or that whomever, the court clerk, according to this contract and according to the law, you're bound by the Constitution. Because you know what reports we get? I mean, I bet I've heard personally, just in the past 6 months, at least 50 different instances. 50, at least. And I'm sure there's hundreds or thousands more of people bringing up constitutional law and the judges saying, do not bring that up in here. Can you imagine? It's the law of the land. How are you telling me I can't bring it up?
Yeah.
So that's a really powerful weapon, right? All by itself, if we do nothing else. Telling the court, now, once you have that contract, right, you have the right to tell the whole New York State Assembly to cease and desist their unlawful practices trying to mandate or implement statutes and mandates appearing and presenting them as laws for a program which has already been declared a no law. I'm looking at all the different ways, right, that they're in violation. It's so obvious, right? In one wrong step, and they take you to jail somehow. If everyone would just realize it would work, if everyone would just realize our strength is together, that we're the court, that we're the law, that we have to make sure that the people that work for us do the job, right? Rather than, it breaks my heart when people would rather complain about what's not going right than just take the very easy steps to fix it. I've watched my son complain and make excuses for an hour about 20 minutes of homework. Like, just do the 20 minutes of homework. All it takes.
20 minutes. That's all.
Simple.
Okay. I think I've got my 20 minutes in. So we're out just over an hour, so that's probably a good place to break. But
all right.
But just hang on one moment and we'll just say goodbye, and then I want to chat with you for a bit before we get off. So
Okay.
just say
all right, cool, gang.
goodbye, everyone. We'll come back tomorrow and see you then.